agents here, people that are
This
that
meeting
are
is being recorded.
people that are doing their thing. Who wants to share good news with the group?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nicole. I'm fairly new. I just joined EXP. I'm super excited to know what I can learn and grow and help each other. My good news is that I met Mr. James and his lovely wife Tamara, but I am getting my hair done at the moment, so this is why I didn't take the video off. So please excuse me, y'all. And I look forward to hearing everything that's about to go on. Thank you.
Awesome, love it. I mean, and just to, Nicole. I mean, we met almost about a year ago, and just kind of reconnected by accident. Honestly, it was an event that my wife went to, and they ended up hitting it off real good. Jumped on the phone and didn't know it was her, and she was like, "I know you," and I was like, "Wait a minute." I know you too, and it just come to find out that we had already spoke about a year ago. So like, yeah, she's a killer. So I'm happy to have her on board. All right. Who else got some good news they want to share with the group? All right, Jennifer, I saw your hand go up. You got to take yourself off mute.
Mute. I thought I had unmuted myself before. Okay. So I had a listing that I put on. Today would be 3 weeks, actually. And it went under contract 2 days ago. And this is a listing in Smoke Rise. There were houses there before mine went up, and they're still there. So I'm happy that mine went that quickly.
Awesome. That is good news. What part of Smoke Rise? Because I'm like right down the street from there.
Okay, Kanawha Drive, and it was like 824. This is the highest listing I ever had. My client bought it 2 years ago to renovate. We bought it for 3 something and sold it for 8 something, and we got higher than the price. So we are happy.
That I think everybody won on that one.
Yeah.
I drove by it. It's really, really nice. I was like, oh my goodness, Jennifer's property. I remember riding by the other week.
Yeah, we are happy with that. So
well, congratulations. That's definitely
thank
good
you.
news anytime you sell an $800,000 deal. So
Yes.
congrats
So,
on that one.
Congratulations, Jennifer.
thank you so much. Yes.
Right. Who else want to share some good news with the group? Let's see some more faces too, by the way. I mean, Mary doesn't like to talk to freaking names and pictures. So hey, she's like me. We're very interactive. So like I like to see faces. I like to see all that stuff. So yeah, let's turn some cameras on, There we go. There we go.
I got some good news I want to share.
All right, Angie, let's go.
All right. So I actually was on vacation last week. And while on vacation, I closed a deal in Lithonia, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath for $250. And then I also was while I was on the cruise negotiating a deal and went under contract for a townhouse over in Lithonia. And then yesterday, with the client, I went under contract in Union City, a 4-bedroom, 3 bath house. So I'm excited, and I got a closing coming up on Tuesday.
Very good.
Sounds like you on a roll. That's what it sounds like. Awesome. Congratulations. That is definitely good news. That's multiple good news. I know that's not a word, but that's improper English.
Okay.
Who else got some good news they want to share with the group?
Hey, James.
What's up, Carol?
Yeah. I had an opportunity to hang out with Al Stasic last night. He had a grand opening for a business that he started here in Cleveland. He opened a co-working space, and it's called Icon Co-work. And it was great. Yeah, it was a great opening. The space is awesome. I'll definitely be working out of that place sometime. And if you're here in Cleveland, he has a special rate for Cleveland EXP agents that want to, not Cleveland, but Northeast Ohio EXP agents that need or want to use that space. If you're a honey badger, you can pop in anytime. And, he said, use the, Wi-Fi, just sit and write a contract if you need to, whatever you need to do. You don't need a membership for that. So it was a great time last night.
Man, it sounds like it. I mean, I'm glad. The first thing I wanted to do is get you connected with Al. I mean, with you being in Ohio. So I know we had spoke on the phone with him. So the fact that you was able to meet him in person, man, I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, it was great. I was excited. It was a great time.
Awesome. Are you going to do the rock and rescue he's doing over there?
I wanted to do the rock and rescue, but the tickets are like $800 some bucks. So I'm going to have to pass on that particular one. But hopefully next year I'll be able to do it because that's an annual event for him. So hopefully next year I'll be able to attend.
Okay. Well, talk to me offline. All right, on that.
Kim,
Yes.
can you put the information for the place in the chat? I'm flying up to Cleveland in October and I'd love to stop in.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that now.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else want to share some good news with the group?
Hey, James.
What's up, Marsha?
Hey, well, since our last meeting, I did attract another agent.
Awesome.
And, so she's an experienced agent. She's up and running. And then I actually made a vow this week. I was going to reach out to a certain number of FSBOs. So I did reach out to 10 FSBOs so far this week. And out of those 10, I met with 4 and 3 of them agreed to list. So I'm listing 1 today and then the other ones this weekend.
That is very, very good news. And by the way, if anybody don't know, like this is a great time to call for sale by owners, and expires is about to start to kick back in. The market has shifted. The confidence of them being able to just throw their home on the market and get 15, 20, 30 houses offers is changing. So you want to get ahead of that. So the fact that, Marshall, you're making those phone calls, that's huge. But you want to call for sale by owners, I'm telling you, is a huge opportunity being able to connect with those.
Yeah, those ones that have not, I have not gotten an appointment with, I'm still going to reach out to them again later. I'm going to send them a follow-up letter, and then I'll reach back out to them again. But I'm going to do the same thing again next week. I'll commit to calling 10 more.
Yep. So, see, with the market shift that's happened, I'm telling you that that's a big deal, because they're going to need help, and the agents that are getting in front of them, those are going to be the ones that's going to be able to help them. So yeah, appreciate that.
Hey, Marcia, tell us real quick where you got the list. Did you get it from Red X, Vulcan, for sale by owner?
No, I got it free off of Zillow.
Yeah, well, that's a good place. That's free.
I got all the FSBO listings on Zillow, and their telephone numbers are there as well.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, for sale by owners are normally the easiest to be able to contact because they put their information out there for you to call them. So.
And Marsha, do you have a script that you use when you call these for sale by owners that you're willing to share?
Not really a script. I just I don't start off with the sales pitch. I just kind of say that I noticed that they have their home for sale, and I say the address, and I ask if they're still available. And then I just kind of tell them that I have some buyers that's interested in purchasing in that area. And is there a time that I can come out to see the home? And then while I'm out there, I just kind of do my thing and just kind of give them some tips on some things. And then they say, okay, well, you can do this, this, and that. Then they just kind of agreed to let me list the home. I didn't go in with a sales pitch or try to sound like that, scripted, because I know that there's other agents that's probably calling as well. So I didn't want to, and they're probably using scripts from Red X or things like that. So I didn't want to sound scripted. So I just kind of kind of spoke from the spirit.
Yeah, I love that. Let me ask you one more follow-up question on that. So you're also talking to them about helping them to find their next home?
Yeah, so well, some of the ones, well, two of them are actually they're moving in with, they're moving away, and then they're and I asked about doing referrals with them as well, but they already had someone because they're from that area and they're just moving back to their hometown. So so they already knew people there. But I also let them know that if for some reason that doesn't work out, you know, I can actually assist them there as well.
Great job.
But yeah, so I didn't like go in with a little sales pitch. I just kind of went in and just being Marsha. And I guess Marsha worked out.
Marsha worked out. Love it. All right, y'all. So like, you know, I'm super excited to introduce our speaker for today. So this, you know, we got Mary Murphy, and if you don't know her, you should get to know her. Like, probably one of the most sharing persons that I have ever met, just willing to give and share as much as possible. She's been able to grow a tremendous team and business in New Jersey in a short period of time, honestly. And, you know, just kind of operating and using systems. Her and her husband, I met both of them, and you know, they're just really great people. And I am excited to have her here to kind of share with the group what she's been able to do to kind of build her business, build her team, help other real estate agents take their business to the next level as well. So Mary, you got the stage, you know, you got the stage.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm so appreciative of our friendship, yours, and I see Dan on here as well. We all just kind of mastermind together. I know I can call either one of you and you'll, you know, help me, and it's the same way back. And that's really the beauty of our group and the beauty of EXP. And I think that it just attracts people that are just like us to the company. And it's just our culture, right? It's just our culture. So if you call me and you need something, I don't have to ask you, well, what are you going to give me in return? I know what I'm going to get in return by being here. So just really fortunate to be here with you guys and to have met both you and Dan and Levi and the whole group. So I'm excited to talk to you guys. I'm really excited that we got on the topic of for sale by owners, because those are my favorite. So I'm definitely going to get into a little bit about that. But I'll give you a little bit of my backstory. I got licensed in 2015. So I'm about 7 years, a little over 7 years licensed. And I started on a team. So I think that I realized I was a teacher before that. And I realized from the beginning that you're going to get faster. You're going to get where you want to go faster with others surrounded you, people who have done it before you, who can help you. And also by leveraging out some of the responsibilities. So after 6 weeks licensed, I was the first one in the office every single day. And what I really did was I was reading, watching YouTube videos, and I was watching all the top agents, and I was getting to know them, and I was asking them questions. So after about 6 weeks, I joined a team, and I was invited onto the team as a buyer's agent. And they gave me this whole grand idea of how I was going to grow into this lead buyer's agent and run this team. And they really didn't have a plan on all that, but they really were good talkers. But I did learn a lot my first year only working with buyers. I was a teacher before, and I left my job, and my husband was making enough money that my income didn't really matter. Well, the good news and bad news at the time, it was probably the best thing that could have happened to us, but at the time we didn't know, he got laid off from his job. They eliminated his position. So this job that was going to be kind of part-time to replace the nonsense $35,000 I was making a year teaching special needs in Philadelphia, while I was paying half of that to daycare, my money started to be important now, right? Because he got laid off. He wanted to go on business for himself. So I knew I had like a year to really be successful at this, or I was going back and getting a real job working for somebody else. And I didn't want to do that ever again. So I kind of just had to hit the ground running. So I joined this team. And what I really learned that first year, and what I can teach you guys is just like, was it Marsha that was talking, or who was talking? You're somewhere on a different page. Whoever was just talking about for sale by owners, Marsha, it's really taking the action and continuously taking the action that's going to make you successful and the follow-up. So my first year, I sold 37 houses that first 11 months. So I got licensed in January, and the first 6 months, guys, I sold 4 houses. right? Follow up, open house, calling leads, follow up, calling open house, leads, showing houses. 4 houses closed that first 6 months. The second 6 months, I closed 33 because I had built that pipeline. Now all of a sudden they were all closing. And I kind of really got to understand that. I was really blessed to understand that early. And I think it was because I was backed into a corner. And I kind of think that's a beautiful thing. If you're comfortable and you have a cushy job and you don't have to work that hard, or if you allow yourself to get comfortable because you just sold a $900,000 house or you got 3 offers accepted this week, well, you're going to have to eat in December too. So you got to keep that hunger going. And that's what I kind of learned from the beginning. So it started with buyers and also being efficient. So I knew that it wasn't an efficient use of my time to be at a home inspection. Now, did I go sometimes at the end, or I would send someone, I'd pay them $50 because I understood my dollar per hour right away. Like sitting there for 3 hours, chit-chatting with them, listening to the inspector is not a good use of my time. So I would rather just pay this new agent. I was a new agent. I'm a new agent paying new agents to go sit home inspections for me so that I can go find more business. And that's what I did. I would not waste my time. So I learned how to be really super efficient. I also always did buyer consultations. And I pretty much 100% of my buyers, well, here's the great news also. I didn't know the bad habits agents had because I got in, I got myself educated. I took classes right away. And I thought everybody prospected in the morning. I thought everybody role played in the morning. I thought everybody scheduled their appointments and their closings in the afternoon. Like I didn't know that you could actually go get your nails done at 10 a.m. Like I literally treated it like a business from the very beginning. So because of that, I got really good at it and I got really efficient. So I guess I could go on about that, but really what I learned was I had to be efficient with my time because we all know clients, they can waste your time. That you can show someone 100 houses and then they never buy one. Why? Because you were working with someone who was unmotivated. So right away, I had to set criteria of who I was going to work with. And I had this written down. So it was, they had to be pre-approved. They had to have done a needs analysis with me or a buyer consultation. And really every time it was a buyer consultation where they signed that agency agreement because that's what everybody did. I thought we all got that signed. I didn't find out till later that everybody doesn't do that. So they had to be pre-approved. They had to have signed a buyer consultation and they had to be ready to buy right now. I did not deviate from those 3 things. But the way I was able to do that was if you make everything about them, they'll let you run the show. So I was really efficient with learning how to let them know that, yes, I know you're not ready till June of next year and you want to just see houses. Here's what I won't do to you though, because I know that you're not ready till June. You're in this lease and we talked about it. You can't break it. I don't want you to fall in love with a home and then be put in a difficult position where you're paying for the rent and the home or whatever their objection was. So instead, you're in the research phase now. Drive around, look at the emails I send you. And when it hits March, we're going to hit that ground running and we're going to find your home. But I won't break your heart before then. What am I saying? I'm saying I'm not going to put you in a position you just told me you don't want to be in. What I'm also saying is I'm not running you around for the next almost a year when you're not going to probably buy anything till March because you can't, right? So everything is how you say it, everything. And I can give you example after example about how your language is what is really everything. The buyer consultations and the needs analysis are so important. 1, because you're building the rapport with the buyer. 2, you're finding out what they really want, what's important to them and why. You're really talking to them about their timeline and their motivation. And you're also able to teach, you are driving the bus now and you're telling them how that bus is going to drive, right? So everything in there, I'm letting them know how the process works, when I'm available. I'm ensuring them that they're never going to miss a house because of my schedule. You will never miss a house because of my schedule. Now, I will always get back to you within that 24 hours. I may not be able to respond in a minute, but I promise you'll never going to miss a house because of my schedule. So I'm going to get that back to you. I have these people who are, helping me on the transaction side or whatever it is I say, but I'm letting them know up front that you're not going to miss a house and that I've got you and I'm watching the market just like you are. And also, I'm not getting back to you at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 10 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night either. Right. So they know that they look at me as a professional and they expect it because I've set that precedent up front. I also say, this is a line that I love. And if you're working with buyers, you should write this down. The line that I love always is I give them permission to make a quick decision, right? Because buyers, they're nervous. They don't want to go and buy the first house they see. right? So what I tell them is, hey, guess what? Because we're doing this, and most agents don't do this, it's important to me as a professional to really get to know you and know what you want. So, and because we do this, I'm going to make sure that you're only walking into homes that are contenders. You're only walking into a home that could possibly be a fit for you and your family. And we're not wasting our time at a house that never would have been a fit while your dream house is being sold to someone else, right? So don't be surprised if you buy the first house you see. It happens all the time. More than 50% of my buyers buy the first house they see because that's the one they're most excited about, right? And you're going to eliminate hundreds of houses online in our search. You don't have to walk into all of them. So let's just make sure that we're being efficient and we're only seeing the houses that could possibly be the right fit for you guys. So when I say that, I'm actually giving them permission to make a quick decision. I'm getting them excited about making a quick decision. And I also let them know, typically my buyers don't see more than 5 houses. Why? Because we're only walking into those great ones. And as long as those pictures don't lie and the description didn't lie and it fits all your needs, it's likely it's going to be a fit for you. Because I always say 5 houses, it's really funny. As they would start seeing more than 5, they'd apologize to me. Mary, I'm sorry. I know this is house number 6. I know I'm so sorry that I haven't made a decision yet. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's okay. Don't worry, we're going to find it. So I'm never making them wrong or making them feel bad, but I'm setting the expectation. We're not seeing 50 houses for the next 50 Saturdays in a row, right? We're not going to do that, but I'm not going to make it about me, right? What I see agents do so often is they have a buyer run them, and then they're mad at that buyer. It's not the buyer's fault. It's yours. It's yours. You didn't set the precedent. You didn't find out what they really wanted. You didn't find out their motivation. So those are the things that I think I did quick to get me so successful. And I didn't learn that by myself. I mean, I learned a lot of it from trial and error. I also learned how to use the language in the right way because you know what? I'm naturally like that. I'm naturally just unwilling to waste my time. So that can also come across sometimes as I can be a bitch. Like I can seem like that, right? Like I get it. I know that. So I had to learn how to be softer and be more accommodating and be more understanding. That was something I learned in making my clients mad. My first client ran me back to that house 5 times to measure for curtains, measure for carpet, show her uncle, show her grandkids, I'm like, if she takes me to this damn house one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. So I did lose my mind. When she had me in there with this fake contractor for an hour, time number 6, day 3 under contract, I'm like, listen, we're not doing this again. And she got so mad, I didn't even go to that closing. She hated me after that. I passed it to my team leader. Like, I'm telling you a true life story. And I was like, all right, well, that didn't work. It also didn't work me showing her that house 6 times. So how do I bulletproof that? How can I make sure that they feel comfortable and confident without me wasting my time? And that's, I can tell you if there's any skill that I've mastered, that's it, is not wasting my time while also teaching them that that's in their best interest. It's in their best interest not to waste time, right? So there's that. And I could just keep going on and on, but if you ever want to interject me and ask me questions. So I did buyers for my first 2 years. I was on a team doing buyers, all buyers. So those 37 houses, 100% buyers. Then after my second year, I realized that the growth they had told me about, this lead buyer position, whatever the heck they were going to make for me, wasn't real. And I really had to make a choice on if I was going to keep doing what I was doing. I decided to leave the team. And at that time, there was 2 partners. When I was going to leave, because I realized now that I was really making them a lot of money, right? I'm on a 50-50 split, crushing it, selling 50 houses a year. The team split up and he allowed me to list. So the one leader said, okay, you can list if you want to, go find some listings. And I was like, all right, well, how am I going to do that now? All I ever did was buyers. So after almost 2 years, I started calling expired listings. And I fell in love with expired listings. I didn't want to work buyers anymore. So I call expireds every single morning. I followed up. And what I liked about them so much was I truly believed that I really, truly believe their house should have sold. And it was really a bad job by the agent most of the time. And so I could figure out what their problem was, how to do it. And at the end of the day, really, it was overpriced and undermarketed. But I could really show them how I could solve that problem. And so I moved on to expired listings. I did expired listings for a couple of years until there were no more expired listings anymore. Then the only people who expired were either crazy or like not motivated, right? There wasn't any more expired. So I would say after a year and a half, maybe, I don't know exactly the timeline, that's when I had to make the choice to move to for sale by owners. And for sale, but I still don't love them as much as I loved expireds. Expireds already were willing to pay an agent. They'd already been on the market. They were angry, but I understood why they were angry. They sat on the market for 6 months. And then after 6 months of sitting on the market, they were going to move to Florida or wherever they were going to do. Now their dreams are shot and they failed. And now on the first day of failure, they got 50 agents calling them before 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, they should be mad. So I could kind of connect with them. And then I moved to first sale by owners. And so I was pretty much always on a team or building a team. Now my team's pretty big, but I'm probably jumped all over the place. So James, if you want to interject, or if there's somewhere you want me to go with this, I'm happy to.
Nah, I mean, I like the backstory, because I mean, the backstory, shows where you came from and, how you got to where you are specifically. So if anybody want to ask, questions, something, you can pop it in the chat, or you can just kind of chime in or whatever. But I guess, one of the questions I would ask is like, just coming from, being on the team, making that transition to actually, going, by yourself, and then eventually building your own team. What was that process like? What were some of the things that you actually did in order to get that going?
Okay, so I think that I was really lucky that I joined teams first, because I got to kind of see how they ran, what I wanted and what I didn't want. So I was really on 3 teams before I went on my own. So 2015 license, I joined a team that was a partnership. There was a couple other agents on the team and me. And then after that, I was on my own I was with just the one partner. And after that, I went to another team where I was hired really as their sales director. I was there to recruit for their team and to help build the team while also building my own business. And it was an expansion team. So they were about an hour and a half from me. And the 3 different teams were really different dynamics, but especially the first group that I was with versus the second group were a really different dynamic. The first group was very referral based, although I worked mostly leads and like some of my own open house stuff. That's really all I had in my first year. They were very more referral based. There wasn't real structure. The second team was very structured and very organized, very prospecting based. And they didn't care about the contract to close. Their customer service was absolutely awful. Like, I couldn't stay there. I was only there for 6 months because they were all churn and burn. So one was full relationship, one was churn and burn. And I was like, wow, I really need to do both. So when I left, though, the second team, because that was churn and burn, I never had more unhappy clients. I kind of had to leave in a hurry, right? So I had to leave. I'm like, my clients are upset, and I was recruiting for this team. So now I'm sitting down with people. And if you heard James say earlier, and it really is true, I really want to help people. And I was sitting down with an agent that was a 25-year veteran who wanted to retire. And we were sitting down with her, telling her how we were going to bring her over to our team under us within expansion, which is how I got to EXP. I'll get to that in a minute. And we were going to take everything off her plate so she could retire, she could keep her brand. And as I'm having that conversation with her, I'm like, I am going to destroy her life. Like, it is such a mess over here. And me and this guy who are great at speaking, he was just like me. We're sitting there and she's so excited to join us. And I'm like, she doesn't even know. I'm like sitting here. I'm like, I can't. So the next day, after not being able to sleep, I quit that team. And when I quit that team, she decided not to go with them either. And I was really happy because I was just really worried. So that was how I left, but I left really fast. And at that point, I was doing about 10 million in sales. In my market, that was about 50, between like 50, 55, 60 units, somewhere around that. And I had never done the back end before. I'd never written a contract. I had never gotten myself paid. I had literally only sold and built relationships. So that was a really messy lesson, because I was like, well, now I have all these clients. I know how to get the business, but like, what the hell do I do with it once I get it? I don't really know. So I had never been a solo agent. So I immediately hired an assistant. I went through the whole process. So if you follow me at all, you'll see I'm always on a plane somewhere. That's why James and I are friends. I'm always being coached. I hired my first coach after a year, but so I had gone through a whole process. I was at Keller Williams, and they have this career visioning process where it's all these interviews and all these personality tests and all this stuff. And I did it, and I hired my first assistant. And at the same time, I hired 3 more agents because I wasn't working buyers at that point at all. So my 50, 60 sales were pretty much all listings. There maybe would be 10% of those were buyers. I had another rule. If you ever listen to me, I had a lot of rules. The only way I would work with a buyer is if they called me and they already had the house picked out. So literally they called me on my listing and they wanted to buy that listing, or they called me and they had walked through an open house or they knew the house. That was the only way I was working with a buyer. The reason why is I had to be strategic with my time, and I had babies. I had a 1 and 3-year-old. I wasn't running buyers. I knew that I could make enough money off listings that's where my focus needed to be. So I hired an assistant. I hired 3 buyers agents at the same time. The assistant was awful and it was a big mess. And the buyers agents needed me because they were new and they needed me to train them. And I'm selling 60 houses a year and I have no time. And I just made a whole big old mess. I went through 4 assistants that year. I went through like 4 agents. And by the end of the year, instead of selling 60 houses, I sold like 65. So I think I sold 70 or whatever, but it was still all me. And I had created a whole nother job of leading agents and hiring an admin. And I was feeling myself that I was giving bad customer service. I mean, I can give you examples of where I'm at the township office with donuts and pretzels, begging them to get me in because I forgot to order the inspection. Like that was, I would wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe you guys have been here where I was like, what's the inspection deadline? Like cold sweat, freaking out in my phone, looking to figure out deadlines and if I had missed them. That was my life. It was I was never not stressed. You couldn't have dinner with me. You won't have dinner with me. This was me. Going to the bathroom, answering my phone, like hiding. It was really bad. I had no control over my time when I had left that last team. So really what happened, how I ended up solving that, which I'm really fast. I talk fast. You guys are all from the South. You're probably like, I don't even know what she's saying half the time. But I'm a really fast person. So as soon as someone's not the right fit, as soon as that admin wasn't the right fit, done, out of my life. Hire another one, done. So they weren't even making it 60 days because they weren't the right fit. But how I solved it was after the last one left, one of my buyer's agents who was just a blessing to have found. I found her found her by chance on Facebook. She had written in one of the Facebook groups that she was looking for a team. And at the time I thought I needed another agent. That's not what I needed. I brought her on and she was watching this struggle. She grew with me. And I was like, I'm a mess. I can't do this. I got a listing to put in. I got contracts to do. I'm like, this is the worst day of my life. And she's like, I want to do all of that. And I never want to do an open house again. I'm like, you are hired. Like literally you're hired. Here's a pile of work. And she's still with me now. So now she's been with me for the last 3 years. She's my right hand. She is my everything. If you were to look at my reviews, if it's my sale, you will not see my name without Jen's name next to it. And so that's really how I solved that once. And I realized that was when I left KW. So at that point, I was also at Keller Williams. I was in leadership there on their ALC, and they would have me speaking all the time. I was always teaching. New agents are always knocking on my door asking me for help, but no one was there to help me. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm like, I don't even know why they're asking me for advice. Like, I'm a mess. But that's kind of where it was. So I had met Jay Kinder, who I know we're all under him somewhere. And I came over to EXP. My husband quit his job kind of the same way Jen did. You know, the lucky thing is I've got some great people in my life. So my husband, we were in Jamaica and I was like, you know how I wanted to come here? And like, I just tell you, let's go to Jamaica and you just make it happen. I don't even know what airline we're on. I'm like, can you come do that in my business? He's like, I think I could. I think I could. So he quit. He's got his master's in finance and accounting. He had a great job. He quit his job. So that's a little pressure too. Like he believed in me enough that he quit his job. He came over as my director of operations, Jen, my assistant, and the 3 of us came over to EXP in February of 2020. And then we all know what happened right after that. So now I move businesses, and the second I get over here, the whole world shut down. And I came to EXP pretty much by myself. There was no other EXP here. So it was really just us 3. So that's kind of now we spent the whole 2020 figuring out the foundation. That's when we did. We were like, let's just figure out how to have a solid foundation that agents would want to work here. I can't do what I did before. I know I'm leaving money on the table because that was really my issue was I wanted agents because I was leaving money on the table. I'm not working buyers. I'm not working open houses on my listings, and I'm crushing listings. And they're not bringing another sale. So I knew I was leaving money on the table, and I had to be okay with that. So for 2020, I was okay with that. So another 75 houses, same again. But by the end of 2020, I started hiring agents to my team. So from 2020, from 75 to 150 in 2021. And this year we'll sell about 225. So last year with 5 agents, and now we have about 15 agents on the team, which is a constant cycle. I've probably hired 30, but I'm still that same thing. Like, I'm very, very strict with our criteria. They have to be a core value fit. So I think that's pretty much my whole story. And I know there's a lot we could pick apart if I could help with anything, but it's still the same. Jen is my assistant, Brian is my director of ops, and then all the agents. We're now actually hiring an in-house TC. And then I have 4 VAs. We love our VAs. Kathleen, I see you on here. I know you're probably a big fit too, James. And we have, we talk about virtual assistants. They're a part of our team. I'm always in with our assistants. So that's what we look like. So we'd love to open it up for any questions, anything I could help you guys with.
Mary.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, how do you feel about short sales and REOs? Like, how do they do?
I think it really just depends. I just think whatever you're going to do it. Right. So I always say you can have 3 sources of business. Focus on 3 business sources, and one's got to be your database. So one, you don't even get to pick. The other 2, if you want to go after REO and short sale, great. Just do a really great job at that. Right. So go after the REO and short sale, and then maybe your database, and however you're going to do that. But just make sure you're doing it full in. What I see too many agents doing is they give up too fast. Right. They go pay for Zillow. They don't follow up the lead. Zillow doesn't work. Then they're door knocking one time, and door knocking didn't work. And then they're calling expireds one time, and that didn't work. So if that's what you want to focus on, I mean, people really build a strong business off REO and short sale. I don't know what it's like in your market. It's not here. We don't really have that here. But I would say if you're going to focus on that, one of your other pillars would be investors, because that's who you're going to attract with that business. So I would learn how to work with the investors as well.
Okay.
Awesome. Anybody else have questions for Mary?
And Mary,
I got one.
what resources did you use to get your expired contact number?
So expires, I used Mojo. So I have all these fancy systems now, right? Like Follow Up Boss and Home Buy and Why Local. Like I could go on and on all the stuff we had. Back then I had Mojo, and the data came from Mojo. And then Mojo is also sort of like a CRM. You can put notes in there and then add a task to follow up. So I used Mojo 100%, and just that's what I used. There's a lot of different sources you can use. You can use RedX, but I used a dialer, especially for expireds, because expireds, it was hard to get them on the phone. So I used like a 3-line dialer, and I would sit there with my 3-line dialer. I had a piece of paper that had all numbers on it. So I would cross off as I had a goal of hitting 20 contacts every day. So I would cross off the contacts. There was another little line that said how many appointments I set. And then on the bottom, there was like other things that I wanted to do. Did I read today? Did I work out? Did I stay under 100 carbs? I had all these things that I personally do. Did I drink my water? And that sheet sat on my desk. I still have a sheet like that. It sits on my desk all the time. So that's what I did, Mojo. And then when I moved over to For Sale by Owners, I used Zillow. It was Zillow, but then I also had a CRM system. So I used, at the time, Chime. You guys could use KV Core. I use Follow Up Boss now, but I got the numbers from Zillow, and then I would take those numbers. I would just call them straight from Zillow. All the information's there. They write their own description. Their pictures are there. You see their price. And then I would put them into my follow-up campaign in my CRM system if I had connected with them. That was it. There was no magic bullet. And the thing that I liked about FSBOs once expireds were gone was expireds did take a long time to get on the phone, because they were so competitive. And also they were harder to convert because there were so many agents calling them. I mean, my conversion was high. FSBOs, my conversion was sick with FSBOs once I got on them. If I got 10 of them on the phone, I would take 2 listings. So I knew every 10 FSBOs I talked to, 2 of those listings were mine, and maybe more. 1 now, 1 future, but it was all about the follow-up. So there's not as many FSBOs, and you have to have the skill. You got to learn the skill with them and then take the action. But that was it. Nothing special, nothing fancy. It's just action. Works.
Yeah, I used
Right?
RedX in the past, but I was just wondering what resource you used.
Yeah, they all work.
Yeah.
Zillow, Mojo, Vulcan 7, RedX. Sometimes you're going to get wrong numbers. It doesn't matter. I've taken listings from wrong numbers. It's all about the conversation.
Okay. Thanks.
What
You're welcome.
advice would you give about the conversation that you were having, that you were able to get or convert that many FISBOs?
So it's really, I did use a script. I mean, I would use like the Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry script, and really all those scripts are questions. And the thing is that's really understanding what the right questions are to ask, and then caring about the answer and listening, right? So when you practice, if you practice your scripts, then you know what the right questions are to ask. So you're not worried about what you're going to say next, and you can really listen to what they're saying, right? So what I knew with FISBOs is that they did have a need. Well, some of them aren't motivated. I don't care about people who aren't motivated, right? I'm all right sifting through them, but the motivated ones, why are they selling FISBO? Who wants to answer? Why are they selling by themselves?
They don't want to pay your commission.
Right. They don't want to pay our commission because they think that by not paying our commission, they're going to make more money. Right. So when you realize that you can make them more money and they can pay you, and you can just articulate that to them, they'll pay you. They don't want to pay our commission because they want to make more money. Great. I know that you want to make more money. My goal is for you to make more money. Right. Because I'm not someone who just wants to work with one client. I know that when I do a great job for you, you're going to tell everyone what a great job that I did. And that's how I build my business. So you making the most money is your goal and mine. So if I can sit down with you for a couple of minutes and show you how I can make you more money, take all this off your plate and get you to Florida, by September, which is what you told me you wanted, would you sit down with me for 20 minutes so I can show you how I do that? And hey, worst case scenario, it's a free market report and some education on how you can do this better yourself. Right? So, and it was very, very non-salesy. Right? And that's the thing. People don't want to be sold. One thing I will say, I heard someone talk on here, and it's not the wrong thing to do. So I would never say that, but I heard someone on here say, and I hear this a lot when teaching FISBOs, I have a buyer for your home, so I would like to come and preview it to see if it's a fit for my buyer. That wasn't a strategy that I used. And the reason why was, it's a strategy I used if I had a buyer. But if I had a buyer, I was working for that buyer to get that. I wanted them to sell FISBO because I'm going to get my buyer a good deal, and I'll still be able to work out my 3%. But I didn't say that I had a buyer that I wanted to preview the house for a couple reasons. One, I don't like bait and switch. I'm really authentic person, and I don't want to start a relationship with something that's not 100% true. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, by telling them I have a buyer and I want to come preview their house like every other agent, I'm actually telling them they can do this for themselves. And they can, they can do this by themselves. I'm going to bring my buyer to them, and they're only going to pay 3% instead of 6%. Now I'm teaching them that their method is working. And so that wasn't something that I thought I wanted to do. So instead it was, and actually I would ruin that script for everybody else, because I would say, hey, I know you have a lot of agents that have called you and said that they're going to come and preview your home with their buyer. If they have a buyer for you, it's going to sound a little differently. They're going to actually have you sign something called a one-time showing agreement, and they're going to ask for you to pay their commission up front. So if they just want to preview your home, it's likely that they just want to get in front of you. And I'm not going to do that, right? Do I have a buyer for you? I'm sure that I do. I have a database of thousands of buyers, and I would go through that database for you if you hire me. And if you don't, then my responsibility is to the clients who have hired me to make sure that I find them buyers, right? But I would love to sit down with you and show you how I'm going to find you a buyer, and probably multiple, that are going to fight over your home to get you the most money. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell them I don't have a buyer for you. You're not my client. I'm not going out of my way to find you. Right? So that's kind of the way I would word it in order to get in front of them and let them know that I was coming there to list their house. And even on that call, I say to them, hey, and if what I say makes sense and you like what I have to say and you trust that I can do a better job, if you do my job better than me, then you shouldn't hire me. Right? But if you believe that I could do my job and really make you more money and make this a better process for you, are you willing to sign with me when I come over tomorrow? And they would usually say yes. Or they would say, no, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, there's not going to be any pressure. I just wanted to let you know. I just wanted to know if you would be open to it, right? So really, I didn't want to go unless they were motivated. And then I would follow up and after that, I would follow up and pre-qualify them. I needed to know where they were going. Same thing with buyers. Why are they moving? I want to know their motivation. Motivation trumps everything for me. It trumps everything. Why are they moving? If they're like, why are you selling? I don't know. It's a good market. Like, great. Well, when you sell this, where are you going to move next? I don't know. Maybe Texas, maybe China, maybe nowhere. I kind of like my house. Great. I don't want to meet with that guy. Right? They just throw it on the internet. They have nothing else to do. They have no real motivation. But if they tell me I'm being transferred for work actually, and I've got to be in Virginia by, the end of October, I'm getting in front of that guy. That's a high motivation. He has to sell. Great. And if you don't sell it on your own, how long will you try on your own before you interview professionals to help you? And what happens if you don't get it sold by October? Are you going to rent it out, or do you have another plan? So I started asking more questions to find out, and they'll tell you everything. If you use the right tonality and you're interested in them, they're going to tell you all of it. Before I know it, I know exactly when he's moving. I know that he can't buy his next house till he sold this one. I know he has no plan B. I know that he already scheduled. I know his cousin's an agent. Like, I literally know everything from that conversation just by asking the right questions and then shutting up. That's it. Ask questions, shut up. So I can teach you anything. That's really it. And I talk a lot. You guys are sitting here listening to me go on and on all by myself with no one talking to me. So I had to learn that too. So the three things I always would say about FSBOs too is, with each call, I wanted to end the call and I wanted them to have a sense of curiosity, urgency, and doubt. Curiosity, what's this girl going to do differently than I can do? Right? I know you want to sell it on your own, and guess what? I'm sure that you can. I'm sure you can. The buyer's going to come to you. What I noticed though is, here's where I'm making you the most money. The urgency in this market is what's making the most money right now. And that's one thing that it's harder for you to do on your own. So what I do is I put it out in front of all the buyers. And my goal is to not only find you a buyer, it's to find you the best buyer that's going to make you the most money, that's going to close when you want them to close, and then not nitpick with you over the inspection. So there's something like that. So curiosity, even if they sell it, did they do as good of a job as me? I want them hanging up thinking like, shoot, I need that girl. Urgency, why right now? No matter when it is. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve. I don't care if interest rates are 2% or 8%. Right now is the best time, because we don't know what tomorrow brings anyway. Right? So urgency is, right now we know the interest rates are going up. They've gone down a little bit in the last couple of weeks, which is great. I'm seeing a lot of buyers who are urgent to make sure that they get in something before they go up again. And guess what? The inventory is still really low. There's very few homes for sale. So now is a great time for you to get yourself on the market while it still looks pretty and it's not brown, and winter hasn't come, because people still want to get in there before the winter time. So that's why now. Urgency, doubt, they're not going to be able to do it on their own, or they're going to lose money if they did. Right? So I want them hanging up that phone. Either I have an appointment or not, but I want those three things going through their head, and I can instill that in them. And I would have that written down. That's on front of me. I would be writing quotes down all the time, anything to keep me motivated, because the hardest part about it is there's a ton of rejection. Right? They're going to say no, they're going to hang up on you. And like, my first time ever calling anyone, I circle prospected. It was for an open house, my first open house. I think I was like a 1-day license, and someone gave me an open house opportunity, and I circle called, and it was a 55 plus community. And this old man answered, and he was so grouchy. And he was like, I'm sick and my wife broke her hip, and don't ever call me again. And he hung up on me, and I cried. I'm like, no one yells at kindergarten teachers like that. Like, this is not for me. I'm not doing this. And then after that, I realized that he was grouchy because his wife was sick and he broke his hip, and he was just he didn't want to talk to me, and he had no effect on me. Who cares? And now you can say anything you wanted to me. You could never make me cry. Definitely not a FSBO. Like, it just doesn't matter. You want to say F you to me? I hope you say it fast, so that you didn't waste too much of my time, and I can get to the next call from someone who wants my help. That's all right. So, the rejection is not personal. That rejection is them. They're frustrated, expired. They are pissed off. They should be. I would get mad with them. I get you're mad. I would be mad too if I sat on the market for 6 months and I didn't get it sold. But if I had a buyer for you right now willing to give you your price, would you still sell it? Right? That's a direct question. Yeah, I would still sell if you can get me my price. Awesome. And if I could show you a way that I could do that, would you sit down with me for 20 minutes? Right? I don't care. He's mad. Of course he's mad. So that's if I can tell you any of that, it's really just taking your emotions out of it too. Your emotions out of everything. Something I tell my team every day, we have no emotions. We have no emotions. We have empathy, and we don't let things rile us up. The agent on the other side is going to get riled up. Our clients are going to get riled up. The clients on the other side, the attorneys, the title, they all have emotions. We don't. And if we can keep cool all the time, we're going to win every time. I know James has that down. I think you always you're always even keel. You guys can learn that from him for sure. I had to learn that. I'm not naturally like that.
Love it.
So
love it. Motivated sellers, motivated buyers. I think that's a big takeaway that she's putting out there for everybody. Find that motivation and actually, meet with the people. I think that's huge in of itself. Anybody else got a question they want to ask Mary?
I just wanted to make a comment on what Mary just said, because it was me earlier that was talking about getting those FSBO appointments. So I didn't tell the owner that I actually had a buyer. I just let them know that I have a pool of buyers that's interested in purchasing a home in that area. So that means it's in the database or putting it in MLS if I were to list it. So we'll go out to a pool of buyers or to their agents. So I didn't say specifically that I have a buyer. So my goal.
I didn't think that you did. That's an actual script you can find though. That's an actual script that you can find, like people, and that's a strategy that people use. And here's the thing, even a bad strategy is going to work. Right. And I'm not saying yours, you have a pool of buyers, all of that. It does, that will work. And you're going to get in front of people sometimes though that aren't as motivated sometimes with that, but it will definitely work. So I wouldn't take anything away from that. The fact that you're taking the action puts you heads and shoulders above mostly everyone else.
Yes, I didn't introduce myself as an agent when I called. I just asked if the house was still available. And then I said I had a pool of buyers. So my goal was to get there. And then while I was there doing the walkthrough, that's when I started asking all the other questions that I needed to know about, trying to work my way into getting the listing while I was there. But my goal was to get there.
Yeah. And that's a great goal. I think that you can do. And as you get more comfortable, you can get a lot of that legwork done on the phone. So you don't have to get face-to-face. I really didn't get face-to-face with, and not that you shouldn't. And getting face-to-face is great. We're all better face-to-face. But you can get a lot of those questions answered on the phone. And now back when I was doing it at a high level, I don't call FSBOs now. I teach my team to do it. We use a lot of video. So we send a lot of video out to any prospects because you can, only 7% of our communication is words. And then, 93% is body language and tonality. So our tonality we can get through on the phone, but we lose our body language and our facial expressions. And video, you can really capture all of it. So use video too. It's another little tip.
Pro tip.
But great job for doing it.
Pro tip. We got a few more minutes here. Tam said, conduct buyer consultation, pre-approval, conduct needs analysis, buyer agreement. Nicole said, I understand, blessings. Mary, passion, and I guess she's saying both of you all have good passion, the same together. What we got here? Sharon says, that is awesome. Thank you, Mary. Anybody else got some questions that they want to ask Mary? We got a few more minutes here.
So what kind of videos? It depends on who the prospect is. So with our buyer leads, like if we have a buyer that comes in off one of our listings or open out, we send video to everybody. So it's really just personalized. So let's say someone clicks on one of our ads or wants to buy a house and we call them and they don't answer. We'll send them a video. My agents they can either send a video that they already have recorded. I prefer that they send a personalized video, but just in sake of time, you're driving, you look a hot mess, whatever it is. They have a pre-recorded video for buyers like that might say like, hey, I saw that you were interested in a house we have for sale. I'd love to show you that home. I have availability later this afternoon or tomorrow. Just send me a quick text or give me a call and I would love to schedule a time to show that house to you. Now, we're not going to show them a house just because they call us back. We're going to ask all those questions, but we're going to give them what they want on the video. It might even be, thank you for stopping by my open house at 123 Main Street. Loved getting to meet you. Please let me know if you have any questions about that house or if there's another one that I can show you. I have access to all the houses and also off-market houses in our area. Whatever it is, just video. We send videos all the time. And then sellers, it would be the same thing. Maybe it's just great talking to you on the phone. Just wanted to put a face with the name. I'm looking forward to meeting you at your house tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'll be there on time and I can't wait to meet you. Done. Right. So the face to the name one is one we use a lot. Same thing with buyers. Excited to meet you tomorrow at the house on Main Street. Just wanted to put a face with the name. I'll be driving a white Ford Explorer, whatever you drive. And I'll be there just a couple minutes early. So just keep a lookout for me in my car and I'll see you there tomorrow at 3 o'clock. It's just another level of professionalism. It's also another level of commitment. They will stand you up less. So a ton of video.
Leaders asking, do you use a particular video app?
We use our iPhones and we send it through Follow Up Boss. So that's how we do it. You can use BombBomb, which we're looking into. With a team our size, it gets expensive. So I want to make sure that it's going to be worth the ROI. We are very driven by like our profitability. So, and a lot of agents will miss that. Like if you're spending money on something, make sure that that's giving you money back. You've got to give it at least 6 to 8 months, right? So don't go and start paying for a marketing thing now and expect you're going to get paid from it next month. But so you can use BombBomb, but right now, literally, you guys, you don't need anything fancy. Create a video on your iPhone and send it through a text message.
Yep. I mean, that's how we do. We do that all the time. Just, quick little say the person's name, hit send. Nick Krim always says, don't look at it again because you'll shoot another 10 videos trying to get it right. Just do it one time. Don't even look at it. Send it over to the person.
Yeah. They'll send videos back sometimes. We crack up at the videos we get back. Leslie, like last week, she had this like big trucker, this long beard, and he's like probably not on video often. And he sent her a video right back, like, "Hey Leslie, looking forward to meeting you." And he was like a funny dude, but it was just like it's funny. And people just like it, and it's different. They're not used to it. Most agents are door openers. And on the listing side, they sit down. What do you want to sell your house for? All right, I'll list it at that. And they throw it on the market and they don't do anything else. The fact that you're here on this Zoom right now shows that you're different.
Absolutely. We got 2 more minutes. Anybody else got another question they want to ask Mary?
Hey, great job, Mary. So one big pro tip I got that I learned a while back was, when I started telling buyers that, hey, we're not trying to find houses that you like to see. We're finding houses that you're going to buy. So out of the 7, you're probably not buying all 7, right? Right. So I did that. A big eye opener was I did that one time, and the guy said, "You know what? You're right. There's only 2 that we'd actually buy. Let's go see those 2." He looked at one and said, "We love it. We're going to buy this house, but let's go see the next one just in case." And we looked at the next one. And he said, "No, we like it a little bit better. We'll buy this house." So if you have the nice person syndrome and you show way too many houses, try what Mary said because it works real, real well.
And as the market changed, I don't know how your market is, but in our market, it's different than when I first started. When I first started, there was a lot of houses that they could look at. In this market, it's like you got to run out the second it's listed and then buy it. So the buyer consultation is even almost more important, or the conversation on the phone is even more important to find out they really want it because they don't have a lot of time to make a decision, right? But I would prefer to show more than one house because of what Dan said, because of the process of elimination. But when I was if you're showing 5, I used to say, we're going to make this a game and just expect that after each house, I'm going to ask you if you want to buy it or which one's your favorite. So first house, I'm like, all right, what did you think of it? They like it. Great. This one's your favorite. Number 2, if you had to buy one of these 2, which one would it be? Here's what I know. They don't buy their second choice. No one wants their second choice. If they put an offer in on that first one and they lose, it's very unlikely, at least in my experience, that they're going to buy the one that they liked second best. They're typically going to go find a whole nother one. So knowing that, I'm all right with it. Let's just eliminate them. We're never going to talk about them again. Or maybe it comes back up in this market, but for the most part, they want that favorite one. So we do a process of elimination. So when they go home, they're only talking about that one house and not all 7. And they're trying to remember which one had the finished basement and was that the same one that had the pool. And they're looking it all up. Like we're focusing on the one house. So great tip, Dan. I think we're out of time, but Rose, I see your hand up. How can I help?
Yeah, just really quickly. One thing I've been struggling with, honestly, is like the pre-approved buyer, because a good amount of the leads I speak to are pre-approved, aren't pre-approved, sorry. Because like I've been following up with older leads from last year, you know, that went to people, but they kind of just ghosted people. And then I finally was able to convert some. And then others are from open house, or like the ones that come in from like realtor.com and they want a tour. And a thing I struggle with is finding that motivated buyer. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. I just realized my microphone is covered. Finding that motivated buyer and like how to like make sure that they're pre-approved. Because a lot of them, I come into that problem where they're not motivated, they're ghosting me, or they're just like, oh, I don't want to get pre-approved until I have a deal. I think the market's gonna crash. And do you have any advice? Because that's been like a huge struggle for me.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard conversation, so you have to have it a little differently. They don't want to get pre-approved until they find the house. That's a natural thing to think, right? I don't know how many cars I test drove before I got financing, right? You don't finance furniture before you pick out the furniture you want. So in their experience, they think that they should get the financing after they find the house. The thing is that they've got to determine their budget. So that's the way that conversation really happens. Is I understand you want to get approved after you find the house. That makes no one's ever wrong. We're never making them wrong. It's never about the listing agent wanting pre-approved buyers. It's never about you only working with pre-approved buyers. Every conversation you have, I want you to ask yourself the question, did I make this about them? If you make it about them, they'll do what you want 100% of the time. So for them, it's, no, I completely get it. That makes perfect sense. What I know though is most buyers care more about what they're paying each month than what they're paying for the total house over the next 15, 30 years. So I would love to connect you with someone that will help you determine a budget. Right? They're going to determine that budget based on property price, taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA fees, and they're going to help you find a spot that you're really comfortable in so that when we're searching for your home, you know you're in a spot where you're comfortable, right? So I'm going to connect you with someone so you can help determine that. Now, I would never say the word afford. It's never like, you know, any of that. So it's really trying to help them realize that they're going to determine a budget so that they have the power. And then use whoever you want, or, you know, those approvals are they're good for, you know, 90 days, but if the interest rates change, they'll change it for you, but it's just worth it for you to kind of figure out where you are and determine your budget. So that's the way I talk about it. But the most important thing, Rose, is their motivation. So if they're giving you pushback on that initial call and it's a hot market and your experience or confidence isn't at that level yet, get in front of them if they're motivated. So what attracted you to this home? And in a perfect world, when would you be in your new home? If they have no timeline, buyer consultation and get them approved. If they have a timeline, get in front of them. So they're like, my lease is up at the end of October. I got to be in something before then. I would take the risk on someone like that, get in front of them, and then have that budget conversation if you can't have it on the phone. But it's all coming from a different standpoint. All right, I see Anthony's hand. Go ahead, Anthony. Anthony, do you have a question or?
Oh, I'm muted. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to know, what did you do to prospect new buyers? And when it comes to your listings, how did you get creative and like retarget that area to, you know, gain some more business from your listings and the things that you've sold?
Got it. So new buyers, open houses, internet leads, posting on social media. Post everything you do real estate related, post it on social media because people will follow you. But open houses, guys, if you're not doing those, do as many open houses as you can and then follow up. Also any internet leads, realtor.com, Zillow, they all work if you work it. People who say they don't work, it's because they're not working them properly. So anything like that, that's really how you get buyer leads. Listings, how do I get listings from listings I already have? It's really similar. You can circle prospect, let them know. So with circle prospecting, let them know when you get the listing signed that it's coming soon, right? When you want to pick your neighbors. So without, just in respect for time, it's really calling them, letting them know it's coming soon, calling them, letting them know when the open house is, calling them, letting them know when it goes under contract, and letting them know once it closes. If you have a few conversations with them, you're going to find even in that initial call who wants you to call them back. But when it goes under a contract, I can't tell you about that right now. But as soon as it closes, I'll call and let you know what that went for. I think you're going to be really excited to know about it. So then you call them again. You can also send a mailer. What I'll say about mailers though, is unless you're farming a specific neighborhood, one mailer is just a waste of money. So I wouldn't send one mailer out every time you get a listing if you keep getting listings in different neighborhoods. I don't find an ROI for that, but the calls work. Door knocking your open houses, putting enough signs out for your open houses, hosting a good open house, asking the neighbors who they know that's looking to sell. I mean, there's so many ways to get more listings from your listings. It just takes work. So that's my advice.
Yeah, no problem with the work. And I heard I definitely use Mojo as well. How many hours did you put into it a day?
In the beginning, I was prospecting 2 to 3 hours a day.
Okay.
But my conversion was really, really high. So I was also really working on my skills. Towards the end, now I'm at a different level of my career, but when I was doing just FSBOs, it was like an hour a day. I got to a point where I was like, once I set an appointment, I can be done, because I had so much other stuff going on. But my goal was to set an appointment. And if that took 1 hour or 3 hours, I wasn't going to stop until I set that appointment. So it's just having that drive as well. And also, if you block your calendar, right? So I always blocked my calendar. And if I didn't have appointments in my calendar blocks, that was follow-up or more prospecting, right? Because I put in there I had a listing appointment. If that listing appointment wasn't in there, then I didn't do my job somewhere. So then I can go back and do my job then. That didn't mean I was getting my nails done.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Your story is inspirational in that it's not like all glitz and glam. You're really just talking about doing the work. And thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely.
All right.
And guys, you can reach out to me if you have any follow-up questions after this and you just want to like sidebar me, send me a DM, find me on social media. Feel free to do that. I'm happy to help.
I mean,
awesome, Mary. You're awesome.
Yeah, this has been awesome, Mary. I mean, we definitely appreciate you. We want to definitely respect your time. We get a lot of people in the chat saying how grateful they are, and how they're thanking you for being able to share. I mean, I already knew what time it was going to be when we confirmed you. So they're getting what I already know to be true about you. So I appreciate you 100% for everything you do. Once again, like I said, we do these every second Friday of the month, Agent Builders Mastermind, where we're having an agent that's sharing, and we're sharing amongst each other as a group in and of itself. The recording for this right here is going to be on the Agent Builders Facebook group. If you're not part of the Facebook group, just get with your sponsor in order to make sure you're part of that one there. Also, if you were invited here by somebody else, I mean, first of all, you want to definitely send them a text message or give them a call and say thank you, because, sharing this type of information, I mean, it's just not common in our industry, unfortunately. Most agents, they look at other agents as competition. We don't do it this way. So definitely do that. And just if you want to know more about like how you can get even more training and be a part of some of the other stuff that we do, just ask questions regarding that. I mean, other than that, man, like I said, once again, we appreciate everybody for coming on board. Hopefully we can see you all at another event. Once again, thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. And I'm looking to see you in Vegas, right?
All right. Thank you for having me. Love doing it. Anything I can do to help. And James, I'll be getting you to return the favor for my group soon, hopefully.
Let me know. I'm 100% there.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Have a great day.
All right, y'all. Let's crush it for the rest of the month, and hopefully I'll see y'all on some of the events that's coming up next week for the trainings.
Thanks so much, James. Have a great one.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.